Okay, here I am with Sally Cherry, a medical technician, and I'm going to interview her about what she is doing here in Kitely, what kind of activities she is train. I know she's training people, and I think she's got this device, this object here is part of the training. So I'm going to walk over to her and then ask her to introduce herself and tell about the model and the training that she's doing relevant to that. Sally, would you like to tell us?
Yes, good morning or good afternoon. My name is Sally Cherry. I'm based in the state of Maryland in the United States. I am a ASCP certified medical technologist and have been for the last 45 years. Part of this project is to celebrate my 45th year in laboratory science. I do laboratory training, and my specialty is infectious diseases, focusing on sexually transmitted infections. But when SARS came through, I got a major interest in this virus, this particular virus, because well, people may look at me when I say it's a fascinating virus. And it's hopefully some of this fascination will be revealed so we can help get a vaccine developed. And what I'm standing beside here basically is a model of the SARS virus, which is the causative agent of coronavirus disease that has hit the world so heavy over the last couple of months. So what you see behind me, I put a sign up, and the whole idea of this project is to serve as a training site, information sharing, networking for the medical professionals or anyone who's interested in the medical side of infectious diseases without them having to travel to a physical location. I always tell my colleagues, when you need to go for training or you need to get away without getting away, that's what this location hopefully will serve as. So I try to put as much information in here that they will have access to without having to leave their laboratories, without having to leave their state and what have you. Because a lot of my colleagues are busy 24/7 across the United States and the world doing testing for corona right now. And speaking of corona, this what you see beside me, this model, the pink is at the bottom, and then we have the virus. And I did some research which really revealed some interesting facts about the virus. The pink area is to represent the human host cell. Now, basically what a virus does, its only key factor is to find a living host cell to survive. It cannot survive without a host cell, which is one reason why social distancing is so important, because if it does not find a host cell, the virus cannot be transmitted from one person to another. But what we have here is a replica of a host cell, the surface of a host cell, and this component here is the little nodule here that's sitting in the pink area. This is what we call a receptor. This is basically, you see the virus model is action. This is what it does in the human body. It's sitting in that receptor of that host cell. Once it sits in that receptor, and it will eventually be taken into the host cell. One fascinating thing about this virus, if you see on this poster, the S spikes, that's these particular protein, the S protein or the spike proteins are sticking out, the large numbers are sticking out from the virus. They're coated with a type of a sugar, glycan. That particular sugar covers that protein when this human cell is not able to recognize this virus as being a foreign body. And when that virus comes and sits into that receptor, and that human cell will open up and let the virus come into it. Therefore, it comes in like it's welcome a friend, which technically it's not a friend, because once this virus gets out of the human cell, the RNA just starts replicating itself and destroying that human cell, which is why so many people have been sick, because it literally destroys the human cell and just takes over. One of the things I have here in the training center, in the SARS center, is a video that shows what that virus does to the human cells. A group called since Scientific Animation has done an excellent presentation on showing just what this virus will do once it gets inside the cell. But one of the things I find fascinating is because of this, the S protein. Now you may see some little other proteins on the surface of it, and I tried to build this virus to truly replicate this model to replicate the actual virus. Because you see the little yellow components here, it replicates the envelope protein, and we also have the membrane protein here. So I have not built a half version of the protein to show the inside RNA, which is what really does the damage to the human cell. But the whole component or the whole process of developing a developing a vaccine is to find something to block this virus from attaching to that human cell. So that's one of the directions that a vaccine would do. They will create a vaccine that will literally sit inside of this receptor, preventing the virus from attaching. Therefore, that would help the patient from contacting getting the disease. So that's the fascinating part, just being able to learn. That's the whole thing, learning, providing the site so people can come in and learn about the SARS virus, which is the causative agent for the coronavirus disease. I said SARS virus, the SARS virus too, because this is not from the same SARS. This is SARS corona 2.